have a nice discussion today. Let's. I have a guest in the studio, but what we're going to do, my guest, we will be talking about the operations of my guest and the business of my guest. However, I also want to give the opportunity to the listening public, especially all the radio call-inners over the year, if you feel like calling in and saying, giving greetings, wishes to family, friends, the community, even government, you feel free to call and say, Merry Christmas. I'm opening that floor for that opportunity to give greetings. We can take comments also, but we're going to do a mix and match situation. Anyway, let's go straight to the discussion with my guest this morning. Her name is Judy Hoover Labega, but she is known as the director of the Bureau of Telecommunications and Post. And we've recently had a nice surprise, or a nice answer with regards to Judy and her position. And I thought it was nice to invite her here, and we can have a discussion on the Bureau of Telecommunications. About 6 months, 8 months ago, Judy was on the program and given an explanation of the Bureau of Telecommunications, and we asked her then to come back and do more. So what we will do is continue with that. All right. So good morning, Miss Labega Hoover, Judy. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Arnold. Thank you for this invitation. Good morning to the listening public. I would like to extend warm season greetings to everyone as well, wishing them all the best for this holiday season and also the best for the new year in 2026. Yes, indeed, about 8 months ago, I was here where I then discussed the postal sector with Mr. Wendell Moore. And I'm pleased for this opportunity to now come back and elaborate on the operations of the Bureau of Telecommunications and Post.
Great. The Has there been, you have been recently appointed as the director of the bureau. You have been in the position of the director for a couple of years, maybe, but there is a final appointment, official appointment, as to that position. Anything to say on that?
Yes, indeed. I was interim director from August of 2021. And on Thanksgiving Day this year, November 27th, if I'm not mistaken, I was officially appointed by national decree as the Director of Bureau of Telecommunications and Post. I am truly humbled and honored to be able to serve my country in this capacity. I love my job, I love the challenges, and I'm also looking forward to catapulting the operations of the Bureau for country St. Maarten and making us recognized and accepted internationally as well.
Look, you're honored to serve the community, etc. Let's stay on the Judy for another second. The person Judy. You were working with BTP for quite a while. I can't remember how long the quite a while
Since
is.
2013.
2013, so brings us at least 12 years.
Correct.
But you also worked with Telem prior to BTP.
Correct.
So it was a you. I'm getting to the point where you were working in the capacity of serving the country, serving the people via your positions. You were handling a lot of the financial aspects in Telem.
Indeed. When I first moved back to St. Martin in 2004, I actually started with Smithcombs. I was responsible for the international fiber optic cable at that point, the financial administration, but also the FCC reporting. Once the merger took place that we became the Telem group of company, I then became the assistant to the CFO within Telem. And that is when then I did financial projections, but I also did quality assurance and revenue assurance. And after that, I got the opportunity to serve in the minister's cabinet, the Minister of Telecommunications, for 1 year. So I almost have no, not almost. I can say that I have a very broad experience on all platforms in relations to the telecommunications sector of the island. I served with the operators, I served with government, and now I'm serving with the regulatory body. And that oftentimes gives me the edge of understanding the perspective of all the players that are at the table when it comes to policy making and also implementation of ideas, plans, projections, and also discussions about legislative changes.
Yeah, but who are the players at the table? I'm
Right.
not. I don't want to. I don't want you to tell me the players of the table in St. Martin, because telecommunications
Okay.
is it goes beyond St.
It
Martin,
it
even underground,
goes.
undersea. We have cables going undersea, going to different
Ooh,
countries. So it
if
goes beyond the shores of St. Martin.
definitely we have to remember that communications is always relaying information between one party and that other, and the other party can be anywhere around the world. And anywhere and around the world, they have different rules as to how communication can be relayed and what is allowed to be relayed. So we have basically on a UN level the International Telecommunications Union. And that is most of the time where a lot of the overcouplant, I don't know how you say that in English, the umbrella legislations and policies and guidelines are decided when it comes to frequency assignments, when it comes to bandwidths, when it comes to privacy laws, when it comes to protection of data and information. So we can say, okay, it starts there, and then on a kingdom level, the kingdom also has signed up to these unions, and their legislation is then based on that. Now, because we're part of the kingdom, our legislation then has to also fall in line with that. So if you look at it from a policy and a legislative perspective, it comes down from the UN level to the kingdom level and then to our country level.
But how often is the communication on an international basis?
Very often. Very often. On an annual basis, there are, every 4 years, there is a revision on the UN level, but on a kingdom and a national level, it happens based on the need. So it can happen 2, 3 times in a year, depending on the developments within the sector, or it can happen annually. It really depends also on what we're looking at. If we're looking at frequency, we tend to do that every 4 years. And frequency is a big part of telecommunications because that's where, I don't want to get too technical, but for example, we have bandwidth. And the bandwidth is assigned per sector. So we have a bandwidth for radio stations, we have a bandwidth for TV stations, we have a bandwidth then for mobile phones, we have a bandwidth for cellular phones. And that is often, not often, well, it's always regulated on an ITU level because then based on that, it trickles down to the different countries that we can then coordinate with our neighboring countries. Again, the challenge that St. Martin has is that the post close proximity and us sharing the island with the French part, we have to deal with France for French St. Martin, and St. Bart's, we have to deal with the Netherlands for Saba and Statia, and we deal with Angola for St. Kitts.
And that's not every 2 to 3 times a year. That's probably
It,
on a
on a
more
regular
regular basis,
basis.
daily.
For example, driving over Colby Hill, that we can pick up the radio station from St. Kitts. That has been an issue that we've been trying to navigate for years, where we've come to the point that we've told the telecom operators, okay, let's just live with this interference because it's practically impossible for us to address this. We're too close.
Yeah, but you get the signal when you're going over the hill, and then 2 seconds after the signal pops
Exactly.
off.
But you also get dropped calls when you're going over the hill.
Yes.
And that's a complaint we get
Up
from
Mount William Hill,
customers.
too.
Exactly. But that is just depending on where the signal is beaming and it's being crossed interfered by another island signal.
Okay. The international aspect is very technical. We understand that's what's going to happen. That has to happen, in order for us to maintain our worldwide communications. Fine. I want to come down to the school level.
Okay.
Let's go bring down. These days, the average older elementary school child, fifth, sixth graders, probably have a phone. They go to school with a phone, even though they may not use the phone in school. The moment they come out, it is because mommy or daddy say call me as soon as they come out. So in case of emergencies, you could call me, but walk with your phone, keep it in the bag. I'm not getting involved with parental stuff. I'm getting involved with knowledge of the youngsters with regards to telecommunications, the Bureau of Telecommunications, the legal aspects, what is going on. They get a phone. They're going to get a whole bunch of i17s for Christmas. They get the most. Some of these children will get some of the most expensive phones. But do they understand what what the technical details are with the phone? Yes, they understand. I could make that call. I have good pictures. I could WhatsApp. I could do all of that. They don't really get an education as to what really happens, as to how that communication goes. What is there that the beginning of high school, first year of high school going on, could know, should know, or need to know?
I think it's not even so much the phone, it's what's on the phone. Um, we have had a campaign 2 years ago with we did it with the MPC Video 5 and Have 4, where we had the campaign amongst the secondary schools, telling them don't be quick to click, because oftentimes when even us as adults, we want to get this app on our phone. There are terms and agreements. We don't read it. We just click. But you don't realize what it is you're giving that application access to. And we have to realize that phones right now are basically a database of everything of us. They have our fingerprints, they have our face recognitions, they have our bank information, they have our passport information, they have our credit card information. So you basically put your entire life into a device. There comes a heavy responsibility with that you need to know how to use this device now to keep yourself safe and to keep your information safe. And I think that is where now we as the Bureau have been actively campaigning, and we're going to make it an issue again in 2026, or a focal point, to educate the population on the importance of being mindful of which networks you use. For example, you're at the airport. One of the worst things you can do is to have your Bluetooth on, because hackers can access your phone via Bluetooth. Not only that, other times person choose to go on the airport Wi-Fi, which is an unsecured network, to check their bank accounts. Now the same thing, kids, there's this new app where, for example, you put in a picture of yourself, and then it shows you what you will look like 15 years from now. That picture is your biometrics. Do we know where that data is stored? Do we know what's being done with that? Especially in this age of AI. Because once that application has all this information, you may see a video of yourself 2 weeks from now in Hong Kong doing something that you've never been to Hong Kong. But you gave them access to all of this. So it's nice and dandy to give your kids, the latest devices, because you want them to be fluent in all the new technologies. But it's even more important for you to educate them on using these devices wisely and safely.
Yeah.
And there's also now oftentimes parental control in these devices. And I think that is where we as parents and as adults and as caregivers need to start to look into, where we monitor what they're doing, we monitor what they're accessing. Because on the other end, there are a lot of dangerous activities taking place.
Okay, but there's two things I want to touch here. One, the you the young folks need to understand. Us adults also need to understand. A lot of us who just take the phone for granted, thinking it's just a phone, but we don't realize it was many years ago. I was told it's not a phone; it's a device. It's a computer that has 5 applications. I can't remember all 5, but one application was the phone. The other application was a computer. The other application was
Camera.
a camera. They had 5 main targets of this device, of which telephone is one of the five. But in either case, if you if a child goes into all these kind of things, yes, with AI, all that, their biometrics become known at any point. But you have a situation now where the United States is requiring, when you go for your ESTA, the new rule next year is that you have to give at least 5 years of social
Media
media
activity.
activity, etc., etc. So some of that is already there, because if they were to look at your social media and they see those pictures, they see your name, all of that biometric stuff is already there, which is not necessarily giving them permission to take it, because it's already in the system.
And that is, it's good that you mentioned that, because we we don't even know if, when we clicked yes to accept the application, if one of the terms and clauses was that the US government is allowed to have access to our data, because nobody took the time to read it.
Is that something the Bureau of Telecommunication needs to do?
No, because again, that's on a country level. For example, if I'm not mistaken, it's Australia. Australia has passed a law that any kid under 16 is not allowed to have a social
Period.
media account.
And as a social media account, it WhatsApp.
Social media account,
Social
period.
media, period. Okay.
So it's been banned completely. And there were hefty fines to the social media applications if they were ever caught still granting access to that. Now, that is a national level decision. The Bureau is a policy advisor to the government, so we can tell them, you know what, this may be the impact and this is the best way to go about it, or this may not be a good idea. But at the end of the day, if our legislative makers decide this is what we're going to do, they have the right to pass
You're
the
just
law.
an advisory role.
Exactly, because our advices are not binding. So again, the US decided this is what they want to grant visas to persons entering their country, because they need to know a little bit of history about the persons. There's
That's what
nothing
they
that
want.
no other country can do about it.
Yeah,
You
well,
either give them access or you
or you
don't go
don't.
to the US.
Or you say no, you don't.
Exactly.
So the are we at a level of looking at, with it's popular, it's in the news recently. It's 2 weeks now since they have Australia has implemented that law, and in looking at international news, there are several other countries whose names I can't recall now, who are seriously looking into it, or doing a partial prohibition of social media. Are we at that level? Are we at that level of looking at it and saying maybe it is?
We haven't had that discussion with the Ministry of Education or Justice as yet. But again, this is Judy Ann speaking from a personal perspective. I do think that it's not a bad idea, not because we want to limit our children, but again, because we have skipped the gap of educating our children to use social media wisely, and it's become a tool to bully, for example. It's become a tool to start doing human trafficking of children. It's become a tool that people are farming kids to go into schools and do mass shootings. Oftentimes, it's because they've been engaging with persons on social media and the parents were completely unaware. So I see it more now as a form of us trying to protect our kids as long as possible and to leave them enjoy their childhood the way childhood was meant to be enjoyed. Because in my opinion, again, social media is an adult tool. It wasn't made for kids. It was made for adult entertainment and for adult use. We have allowed our kids to segue into it. But I personally don't think it's cool that you have YouTube a YouTube page for a 3-year old. A 3 years old life should not be on social media. But that is my personal opinion. Again, everyone has a different take on it, but I personally don't feel that it's a bad thing. I think everything has its time And I think at 16, your cognitive understanding begins to develop, and you're then in a position where you can start to weigh out things and see, okay, this is maybe good and this maybe not good. Let me not go on this one. Let me do this.
Okay. Well, before we continue, Miss Judy Ann, I will go to a commercial break and we drink a little bit of water
Of course.
because the guava done. The little sip Grace gave me, and we move on. Thanks.
Okay,
Let's go to
perfect.
a commercial break. Having a great discussion with Miss Julianne Hoover of the Bureau of Telecommunications and Post. And before we go back to that discussion, I had opened the program indicating that anyone who wants to wish Joanne or Wendell Moore Merry Christmas, feel free to do so, or anybody else for that matter. We are the ones who have been here with you the entire 2025, taking care of the viewpoint and for the public, making sure the public is understanding what's happening and the opportunity to talk about what's happening, what could happen, what should not have happened. In other words, the view, their points. So feel free to use the line to wish anyone happy Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever. But in the meantime, looking at the headlines, the shops are open for Christmas, New Year's Day. So that's good or bad. Yes, it interferes with the holiday, but then you don't have to go shopping if you want to observe the holiday. But those who want to go shop will take advantage of that. And there are others who come to shop who are now having that opportunity to shop. Is it good? Is it bad? That's not my point. My point is that that's what's happening this year. And a lot of we always go through those whether it should be open or not. And I grew up. Well, I went to the United States when I was 16 years old. This is my point of view, and I don't think there was ever a Boxing Day that we didn't have to go back to work or go back to action. Boxing Day is not a holiday in another country. So it depends on your country, depends on your culture, your customs, etc., etc. So lots of things have been happening, but we've been having a nice, quiet, action-packed shopping for Christmas. Julianne, let's going back to the Bureau of Telecommunications. We've broken down a lot of things in terms of what's happening on the international level, what parents should know, what people should know. And we've tried to bring it across in a very, very layman terms idea. But parents, I started off with the school children, that they don't know a lot of this stuff that they should know, or I think they could know. And parents need to know this too. I'm not saying parents are to blame for actions of the use of the phones, etc., etc., but the telecommunications that are ongoing. A lot of parents out there who are young parents, new parents in their 20s, who have not gotten a grasp of telecommunications. They are on the phone, so they themselves may not be up to speed with what's going on. So that in itself becomes difficult to pass on valid information to children when our younger generation, in between 20 and 30, many of us have no clue that Bureau of Telecommunication exists, what they do, and how it works.
That is absolutely true. Um, and we also need to keep in mind that telecommunications, I think, is one of the most rapidly evolving technologies under the sun. There's a new phone every week. There's a new app every week. There is a new possibility with the device every week. And unless you're a technological geek, it becomes very difficult for you to keep up with it. But there are certain basic things that all of us, as parents, caregivers, and guardians, need to take in consideration. And we need to take the time out now to start to educate ourselves on this matter. Why? Because internet is no longer a luxury. It's becoming a basic good. From the Bureau's perspective, we're basically legislating internet to become een opgedragen dienst, which means that just like water, electricity, telephone, post, mail access, it's one of the basic needs of every citizen of a country.
Could I use the word necessity?
It becomes, yeah, basically a necessity. So it's one of the basic things that every country should provide for its citizen at a sustainable level. That has already been done on an ITU level, and we're now bringing it down to our national level. So, with that being said, the access though becomes constant, everywhere, all the time. And then the responsibility now starts to fall on us as the persons responsible to take care of these children, to ensure that that access is safe. So I'm urging all parents, you can visit our websites because we do have information guidelines.
What's the website?
btp.sx. Very simple. www.btp.sx. And then you go on the information page and you will find short guidelines. It tells you how to put controls on your child's devices. It tells you how to manage passwords. Because that too. Some people have a Wi-Fi network at home and the password is 123456778.
So we all know that.
But you have on your Wi-Fi your camera system. 123456778. Somebody passes by, they can log in. Now they have access to what's happening in your home. You have a smart TV, your TV is hooked up to the Wi-Fi. The person can look into your home via the camera. That's
Hold
why
up. Julia, hold up. Let's get something straight here. Your password is 123456778. A very savvy technical person drives up in front of your house. He checks to see if there's Wi-Fi. He gets into your Wi-Fi system because the password is welcome, called 123456778, and you have cameras. But the cameras are taking pictures of you outside.
Okay.
So technically, it's
outside.
Outside. Yeah, we looking. The
But there are
camera is looking
persons that
outside.
have
How can I
cameras-
see what's happening inside?
But there
Tell
are
me.
persons that have cameras in this studio here. We don't have any inside.
Yeah, there's one here.
Okay.
There's one there when we're doing the
Okay.
program. We're not
This is a
live today.
network.
Yeah.
This is a network.
Mm-hmm.
Them logging into the network gives them access to view in the network. Have you ever seen hackers log into, for example, scamming calling stations?
Scamming conversations.
No. So like there are scammers that have call centers.
Uh-huh.
There are persons that can log in to their IP network, the internet access network, and then they get access to these cameras,
Okay.
to these screens.
So you could stay outside in the street and look into my house because I may have a couple cameras in the house too.
Correct.
At the door when you're coming in. So you could see me. You could see
Exactly.
each other. What you mentioned the television.
The television, some of them have. The smart TV, some of them have an eye in the front.
Uh-huh.
Because they also function as, for example, if you want to do WhatsApp video calls or if you want to do Zoom meetings, those also give you access inside.
Because you're inside.
Exactly. Because it's a network.
Okay.
So, again, for example, choosing your password, you need to be very careful and selective as to what it is you choose. Make it as difficult as possible and as unique as possible. And that's why they oftentimes urge you to change your password every 6 months. Because sometimes your guest comes over, you give the guest your passwords. The guest may share it innocently with someone else. Some persons also opt to have two. So you have one for your personal and one for the guest. And the guest one then has limited access. Those are different options, but that gets very technical. But again, it's important for us to know how we use our internet, who has access to our internet, and what networks are being visited on the internet. Because then you also have Trojans that can come into your network,
The
viruses.
viruses and stuff like
And
that.
then you have another issue because they can also take
Well,
your,
you
your
know, all
network
of us know about the
hostage.
viruses because if our phone catch a virus, if we go on these other sites and the children for sure will know what the virus is. They go by somebody, they're like, how you clean up the phone here? Clean this up for me,
Exactly.
please. Blah,
Exactly.
blah, blah,
But in
blah.
the
Fine.
meantime, the virus has already captured all your data.
Oh, wait. So the virus captures your data. They could use your data, but on the other side of my phone now, I'm thinking once I get rid of the virus, I good,
You're all
I
good.
clean, I good to go.
They already have your data.
Okay, now I'm acting like a total idiot here.
Hmm.
I know a lot, but I'm acting like a total idiot because I want the public to understand these are the things, the concerns that they need to come out. But now let's talk about a situation where youngsters play games. They're called gamers. They're playing games. Now, I was by a family one night late, and the one of the kids, a teenager, was 16, 15, 16 at a time. Um, you hear them and they're screaming out, "Hey, bam, bam, bam!" It's just like, but who they talking to? They are playing games, but they're talking to somebody in Russia,
A complete stranger.
China, wherever there is an internet connection. They're talking to other
People.
people live while they're doing these gaming things.
That's the
So,
thing. So you don't know who your kids are exposed to. You don't know what the intent of these persons are. Because for all we know, it could be a child predator. But they use the gaming app to gain your child's trust.
makes
And
sense.
once they get cool with them, we play for 2 3 weeks. Now we friends. Give me your phone number there now. Then it's come meet me by the mall. Then your child goes to the mall and never comes back home.
Serious stuff.
And we tend to think that, oh, but St. Maarten is small, it won't happen. But it only takes one. It only takes one.
Yeah, but in St. Maarten, it take one. The child could come back home. But in St. Maarten, you could meet me by the mall too, and you go and you hang out and you become friends and you
And then
get into
something else.
other activities. Not
Exactly.
necessarily a death situation, but hey, it could be other
Other
activity that is
activities
not accepted
that you're not
in the
looking.
family.
Exactly. And again, too, we have to keep in mind that we have a huge influx of people coming in on a regular basis, a rotation. We have 6 cruise ships in today.
Hmm.
We don't know who all these cruise passengers are.
And the point?
What if one of these gamers happened to be one of the cruise passengers? We have to think, right? Very forward thinking and very. We have to now realize that the internet has made the world an open platform. Nothing is off limits and nothing is impossible. So a person with that mindset will go to extreme lengths to achieve the plan that they have put out for themselves. If their plan is to come and kidnap your son, they will catch a cruise for $500, come St. Maarten, take your son, go to St.Maarten, and we never see the son again. And it may sound very far fetched, but these are realities that when we go to telecommunications and even more so postal congresses, human trafficking is something that is very, very high on the radar, and it's facilitated oftentimes by
But
internet connections.
yeah, the this is more on an international level. But I want people to start thinking, like I just said too, it could be even on a local level. It's not only happening elsewhere. We hear about it and we see it and sometimes we read it in Google, something happened, etc., etc. But little things like this could happen, French side to Dutch side,
Exactly.
cul-de-sac to town, Dutch quarter. Listen, me and my partner on the game now, we using WhatsApp. I want to send no message on WhatsApp. Meet me down Cold Bay.
Exactly.
Let's go do something stupid.
Exactly.
Or to them, not stupid, but whatever the case may be. So it is relatable to
To our
every
environment.
local environment.
And primarily so because again, the influence that we have from the outer world is huge. Our children are very much influenced by what is taking place in the gaming world, in the rap world, in the social media world. We have copied it over as ours. And that is why, on a UN level, also a lot of attention is being placed to child safety, updating of child pornography laws, updating of child protection laws, and data protection specifically to children. And the biggest challenge that we're facing is how do we keep children safe in AI development? And it's something that we've been battling over for the last 2 years, and we still can't find a
This
solution
is
for it.
brand new stuff. This AI thing. This
But
is
it,
brand new stuff.
but
This is not
it's
the nail
brand
down the
new.
line yet.
It's brand new, but it's already having effect on our kids. So we're trying to figure out how do we address this from a policy level, from a legislators level, and on a control. Like how do we limit the impact this will have on children that can't defend themselves, that think they're doing the right thing and think that they know everything, but they don't.
Yeah. Look, that brings me to another concern. Not concern, something that I think I want to bring up. There are these things in AI, but before even AI was a big thing. You make a statement. A member of parliament. They make a statement. They make a statement. It was a funny statement. It was a concerned statement. It was a statement that was became a popular thing, a discussion point. If you go on Facebook, by within an hour to 2 hours, that politician's face
That's too long.
is up.
Within 20 minutes.
I ain't no expert in this yet.
With AI right now, you can just put the clip in, make a jingle on this rhythm.
And a caricature of this person shows up, and boom, big time. It where my point with that is, does the Bureau of Telecommunication get bombarded, get called, get approached for these kinds of things? Look, the politician didn't like it. Is it borderline slander? Is it slander? Is it acceptable? Not acceptable? It is not condemned because you don't know who's doing it sometimes.
Okay, so
How is that?
the bureau legislates specifically licensed and licensees and concessionaires. So they're operators. A member of parliament on the floor speaking, and a citizen taking that and doing something is a civil matter. So that will go via the justice chain and not via the bureau. So we have
But they're using telecommunications. They're using
exactly. So, but the Justice Department also has legislative guidelines as to how those, because there are different means of harassment and bullying. And the justice already has different streams of how to address it. So not because a telecommunications mean is used means that it comes to BTP. What they will address BTP, for example, for is if they want to intercept this line to gather more information, then they will come to us. Or if they want a private line to be able to do whatever research they need to do, then they come to us. But the handling of the complaint itself will go via the Justice Department.
it becomes a civil
civil
complaint.
matter,
It could be
yeah. If it was
a judicial situation.
a situation between two operators, between Flow and PJD2, then it would come to the BTP. Because those are two licensed operators that fall within our jurisdiction. But two natural persona, that will be then a justice issue.
So there's a clear distinction,
Yes.
separation from those issues. Yeah. Well, I'm enjoying this discussion because I think it's so educational. I am probing you, and bringing out things that I think
And that's what I'm here
it's not
for.
a regular discussion. And I was fishing for information that I think the children should know, parents should know, administrators should know, because we do a lot of things.
Also, our school counselors, our principals, our teachers, because they spend a lot of time with our kids as well. And I always say, like, we have two kids. We have one that's at home with us, and then we have the one that's in school. So they too will need to know this information to know how to address and guide the kids as well, and to also take small moments within the class to educate the kids about it as well.
Yeah, I mean, my high school days, we had a class called maatschappelijke
Social studies,
social
yes.
studies. So that's where we got into some social issues. But the entire school is maatschappelijke leer now.
At this point, yeah. And remember now that it, sorry. Remember now, I know the social issues that we had 40 years ago have
Yeah, disappeared.
multiplied, and they've become way. The social issues 40 years ago were limited to St. Martin. The social issues now are worldwide. So it's a lot. And I always say, like, we have created a world, and we have made our children the victim of this world. We never imagined COVID. We never imagined living under lockdown for 3 months, but it was all part of our actions.
Hmm.
We never imagined living in a situation where we have global warming, but it's a part of our actions. So we as parents have a big role to play in the responsibility and accountability to reverse
No,
things and to turn things back.
I agree with you. I fully agree with you. But I want to go a little further. 60 years ago and 60 years after, there's one thing that has never changed. And 60 years from now, it will not change. And that's a little thing called respect.
I
Respect.
agree with you.
We had to have respect 60 years ago, and our parents and grandparents, and 60 years prior to that, and 60 years prior to that, had to have respect. So yes, things have changed. The equipment have changed. We have phones now. We had landlines then. We have devices now, but we still have to have respect, whether it's on a device, or whether it's in the paper, or whether it's on the street. And you still the hello, good morning, good afternoon, how are you doing, still remains exactly the same, and we expect it. So we still as parents, need to make sure
But we need
that
to
yes,
we need to instill that.
you're using a phone now, or you're using a device now, but say good morning.
But not only that, it also comes, for example, with setting time limits to use the device. When we're at the table eating, you don't use the device.
Hmm.
Now you have kids sitting down, they eating, but the iPad is right there next. So there's no
Go
interaction.
in a restaurant and watch four people sitting down, and you
And we
all
all
four of
on our
them on the
phone. Exactly.
on the
So
phone at the same time. No
and
discussion no more.
and our children imitate what we do.
Hmm.
So again, it goes back to us leading by example and also instilling respect. I think that would be a good basis to start, because from that, then following and honoring instructions will follow through, and there we have more control.
Yeah, look, I have this thing when I see little children, young children, etc., young to middle or age children. You introduce me to your child, etc. Say, my name. I have to tell you what my name is, and I said my name is Uncle. You know, I tell them my name is Uncle. A couple of times it has like how you get my uncle, and I said, don't worry how I get your uncle. Just if you call me Uncle,
We
you're gonna be
good.
good for life. But Uncle. Um, that's it. It helps, and it is my way of saying, or instilling some basic respect or familiarization in a respectable manner. But we don't even tell our children anymore, to look auntie, look uncle.
I
Oh,
agree.
and we probably don't even want to hear it. Many of us nowadays, but I want to hear
Or
it.
addressing adults on a first name basis. I'm like, when
Yeah,
did that become normal?
yeah, it's
But
yes, it's changing, but the basic premise and meaning of respect, that is not changing. You still have to offer that respect.
I agree.
And well, anyhow,
We can open the
we
line in a
have
few
two
minutes.
minutes. We have
Maybe
two
we have
minutes
one call.
before we wrap up the program, and I am I am kind of. I don't like the fact that not one person called us in on the program to say Merry Christmas to somebody else. This is a program where sometimes you get so many calls,
Calls.
you're waiting online and you have to hang up. Nobody's calling to say Merry Christmas. I
Well,
think the traffic
I
is
got a
not
few
bad.
messages that they're very thankful for the program. It's very informative. So they are listening.
Oh, they are. Yeah, I'm sure they're listening, but I think if they're listening, they're listening in their cars or everywhere else. So everybody going shopping to do the little last minute thing. So of course, um, have a car. So well, yeah, my statement worked. Caller, you're on the air.
Okay, folks, everybody, Merry Christmas and all the best for the happy 2026. One love, okay?
Okay, thank you and Merry Christmas to you and the family too.
Yes,
And
sir.
now
Will
that
do.
we're at the end of the program, I'm gonna change my words and I'm going to use this last caller as a representative of all those who thought and would have liked to call in to wish their family, friends, and associates Merry Christmas. And with that, I would like to thank Judy Labega Hoover, the director of the Bureau of Telecommunications and Post, for an extremely enlightening, educational, and down to earth discussion as to the Bureau of telecommunications, and what we need to do. And from the program Viewpoint, on behalf of Wendell and Joanne and the rest of PGD2, we would like to wish everyone a very, very, very happy and Merry Christmas. Take care. See you next time.